Well, thank you, Nyota. We do have with us indeed Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe, who is the Chairman Senate Committee on Power, Steel Development and Metallurgy. It's very specialized, it would seem.
Yes, I'm sure it looks like a mouthful.
Yes, it is a mouthful.
Power and steel tend to go together. I think the next one is just the metallurgy that is there.
Okay. Well, we're not discussing that this morning. We're focusing on the matter that's been raging for some time. You recall that only recently the Senate did focus on the sale of assets. In fact, the Senate President at the opening from resumption from recession of the 8th Senate, he did recommend that some assets be sold. It would seem in tandem with some other calls we had heard outside of the Senate, but there was a very healthy debate on it just before Senate adjourned on Thursday. And what exactly did you make of that particular debate? Are you also of the school of thought that some assets be sold? No, I'm part of those who say no, there shouldn't be any sale. The real reason is that we've had asset sales. We've had Nigeria go into devolving non-performing assets and all that. But we have also had a history of not having anything useful come out of it. And most of us who are against the sale of assets, we tend to question. If you sell all your assets, very simple matter, and we still go back to our old ways of frittering away everything that we have, what's going to happen tomorrow? And so we think that there should be a way. Nigeria is not lacking in economists. Nigeria is not lacking in people who are really very, very vast in turnaround of an economy, and they're all there. And we think that there are other ways that you could go without necessarily putting first the question of sale of assets. And okay. Just before you go into it, you know, we have to help our viewers understand the context in which we're having this debate by bringing them the report of the Senate's debate on the sale of assets.
It's the second day of debate in the Senate on the state of the economy. Federal lawmakers are individually suggesting solutions which they say would get the country out of recession and put it on course of economic recovery and growth.
These are practical approaches we can take.
A federal lawmaker says the federal government's approach to fighting corruption is doing the country more harm than good. Another lawmaker calls for a total restructuring of the economy.
If you look at Nigeria today, nobody's buying land, nobody's buying houses. Rent actually is coming down. The economy has shut down. Now, what is the reason? The reason this is happening is, for one word, fear. Everybody is afraid. You cannot run a 21st century economy where everybody is terrified. Everybody is afraid of being arrested, and as long as you have fear in the system, you will not invest your money in that economy.
I want us to look at, in this current constitutional review, the various exclusive lists and the various concurrent lists. Let us see where we have overburdened the federal government. We must come to a point in this republic to say, what is it? How can federal government do primary health? It will fail.
Some lawmakers opposed the recommendation of the sale of government assets and questioned the reluctance of the federal government to make use of funds in several intervention agencies to stimulate the economy.
And I'm curious, Mr. President, if we now say that because of recession, this very viable asset should be sold, what happens, Mr. President, if there's another recession in 15 to 20 years' time? What will not be the asset to be sold?
We do not have to go out crying for debts. As we talk, Mr. President, we have the National Pension Commission. Can the National Assemblies try to know how much we have there, stuck, that is not being utilized?
the Senate has concluded the debate on the state of the economy and has set up a 6-man committee to harmonize all the views expressed by lawmakers during the debate and report back to the Senate next Tuesday, September 27th. From the National Assembly, Linda Akibe, Channels Television News.
Well, that was what transpired on the floor of the Senate, and we still have with us Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe, who was discussing just before we prepared that ground. You were telling us about how you were afraid for the future, that if we did sell assets right now, what are we going to sell in future? It's a big question already put across by Senator Omo Agege. But, you know, people will say, what are we going to do about the present? We are in trouble in the present time, and we need to raise some forex.
Yes, let's put it in context. Why do we need to sell the assets? The ostensible reason is that we are short of foreign inflows, and therefore we have deficits and then we cannot fund manufacturers who would use those forex to import needed raw materials and so forth. But that has not been our experience. Our experience has been that whenever you go and look at usage of forex, you will see that it is tilted more in importation of finished goods, not really for the manufacturers and so forth. It's importation of finished goods, importation of this payment of school fees abroad, and all manners of invisible transfers. And it is those invisible transfers which form a bulk of what we need. And so the fear is, assuming you sell everything or you sell part of something, and it comes in and it goes out in this same invisible transfer without affecting the real sector, which is the manufacturing sector and so forth. So where would you be? And so that is why you find that there's a divided opinion in the Senate among those who all contributed to say there are several ways that you're going to use to reflate or get an economy going. And it is not just by one set of policies. Usually, you're going to use all manners of policies and bring all of them together. But I think that if you listen to Ben Bruce, that is where the key problem is for this economy today. A lack of confidence. That is just it. First, you must have to deal with that, because once there's no confidence in an economy, it doesn't matter what you do. What people will do is to want to find a safe haven. So even if once Nigerians don't have confidence in their own economy, then you're going to have, it doesn't matter what you bring in, it doesn't matter how you bring it in, as you're doing that, nobody will have confidence. Two, people are scared that those who will have the funds to purchase these assets will become the same Nigerians that we are suspecting of having used Nigeria as their launching pad to make themselves super rich. And what it means is that you're concentrating national resources in a few hands. And so you could see that there are all manners of things that go forward with that. But I will deal with the matter of confidence first. Sometime, to tell you how long ago this started, about 1984 or 85, you know, the late musician Fela actually said something along that in one of his songs. He said, "My people are useless, my people are senseless, my people are indisciplined," that I've never had a government say that. And that is where the present government of APC got it wrong. Because when they started, and it sounded very sweet to the ear to say that everybody was bad, now they need to walk back from that. But the damage has already been done. Because if you say that everybody is bad, then nobody will have confidence in your economy. And the key thing, which is why when there were some calls on the floor too, and I think in the House of Reps, that the president should come and address the National Assembly, at the same time, of course, addressing the nation.